the American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
2016.
Hello, Robert. Hey, Angie, how's it going? Good to see my Patriot sister, Angie. Onada, how's it going? Denise, my sister. Good to see you. Oh, my gosh. Onada, I've been seeing some of the pictures. Fantastic weekend of Patriots down at the border. Seeing the real situation. So proud of my friends Diane Ventura, Lynn Ryan, and the whole group that they put together. Dr. Alm up in Berkham was there. I know. Angie. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. You are watching the one and only Trump Talk US live in DC with Suzzanne Monk. We're 20 minutes away from our nation's beautiful capital, 24 minutes away from the White House. At some point, I'm assuming we'll get our Chris McDonald in the room representing Trump Talk US. He is the Monkan. We also want to thank our sponsor, sendmeg.com. If you are in need of a package, any kind of object being delivered, it could be a medical, it could be a mechanical, it could be a mental project, it could be a book, something you made out of your mind, anything in the New England, New York, Ohio, and Ontario area, you should go to sendmeg.com. She has some big news coming up about just where SendMeg is going. but she'll go anywhere in New England, New York, Ohio, and Ontario to deliver any package as long as it's legal. And it will fit in a, 8 by 2 by 2 space. 5 by 2 or 8 by 2. It's on the website. Go to sendmac.com. Why do I have to tell you that? You should go. Anyway, that's our sponsor. We appreciate her, and so we tell people about her business. That's what sponsorship is all about, you guys. Let's talk about news. Rod Rosenstien resigned today. There's my Monkin. Welcome. Everybody, Chris McDonald in the room. Rod Rosenstien resigned. His resignation takes place officially on May the 11th. That is when his replacement, Rosen, will be signed in and hopefully confirmed. And so this chapter of the process comes to a close. Now, I personally, looking at the Rosenstien resignation as we're seeing it today, it seems so timed. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really starting to get the sense, how's it going, Quinn? I'm really starting to get the sense that all of these moving parts are moving very coordinatedly. Is it because Rosenstien made a plea deal and this is why he is resigning in this particular fashion at this particular time? Right at of course, waiting out the closure of the Mueller investigation. The Mueller investigation, which, by the way, not only exonerates the president. I know they keep saying it doesn't exonerate the president. It actually really, if you're using the word legally, that's more like, does it prove the non-existence of anything the president has ever done? No, nothing can. Nothing can ever prove a negative. You can't do that. You can't prove things don't exist. Hey, is there a giant flying spaghetti monster in the sky right now? Or ever. I don't know. Can you prove it's not there? No, you can't prove it's not there. Because you can't prove things don't exist. You can only prove they exist. So yes, it is possible a giant spaghetti monster is flying around in the sky. Equally, it's possible, but I'm thinking, becoming more and more plausible, that we are seeing, how's it going, event, we are seeing a real coordinated and orchestrated process as we saw the Mueller report come out, because the Mueller report not only exonerates the president, but it actually sets the stepping stones, thank you, Dustin, to the crimes that were committed in the coup against the president. This is what I find most interesting when as you go in to the Mueller report. It is sort of like, it's like a little play. It's like a little, like they've written down the play of how Mueller interviewed all of these really corrupt people who were actually in the process of trying to enact a coup against the sitting president. So they keep saying that it has all these clues to where Trump committed obstruction. And I keep looking at it, and when I look at it, I go, actually, it has all these clues to where Trump was entirely vindicated in saying that not only was there a witch hunt after him, but that there was, in fact, a coup against him. And, in fact, he was being wiretapped. And, in fact, they were illegally spying on him. And, in fact, the Democrats were controlling the investigation. That's what the Mueller report looks like to me. So I find it interesting now that we see Rod Rosenstien resign. And in this time frame, everything is being measured. I'm at the minimum. Rod Rosenstien has made a deal and has sung like a bird. That's the only way you look like that on the news. And then resign. You saw him at the William Barr press conference. You saw him standing behind there with the face. You saw the face. So, the clock is ticking ever closer. The clock is ticking ever closer to following the rabbit hole, to the declassifications, to the going through in the evidence. You know, there was a point Many of us are too young to have lived through this point. I was, I was born. I was shortly being born when the Nixon situation happened, and there was all the coming out of the truth, when the truth started coming out. Similarly, I was alive when the truth started coming out about Bill Clinton. Interestingly, that really didn't, we impeached him for he didn't do anything. So this is what I also find so hilarious, that the Democrats' big threat is they're going to impeach the president. Okay. We can't convict him unless it's in the Senate, and we have the Senate. So, yeah. So it's going to be interesting as we go watch forward. I suspect moving forward, but carefully timed with the election, just the drip. We're not going to get, look, we can't have the big boys before the election. I just want to continue to iterate clearly. We're going to need some patience still. Everyone's going to be, I don't want to be patient anymore. You're like that. You're like the middle brother who has been a little bit patient, much more patient than the little brother. You've been patient, but now it's getting to be too much. You're supposed to be patient for hours and hours. This is ridiculous. So now you're getting cranky. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't get cranky. The real hammer is going to have to clank in the second term, which is why this term, how's it going, Paul, is so important. Now, on that note, I want to talk about a few things when it comes to our election strategy. We already need to start talking about what we as Americans, what the Democrats are going to try to do, and what we need to try to do to combat that. So, one, obviously, we saw the president speak at the NRA. I want to talk about the NRA for a second. The NRA has had a few issues lately. I am told some resignations, some scuttlebutt and scandal and issues here and there. I've seen the real issues being, are they actually standing up? Are they actually standing up for gun rights? We've seen the NRA kind of cave a little bit on the red flag laws. We've seen the NRA cave on and just be soft when it should be much more aggressive. Is that because of information that individuals may have on the NRA members or leadership? Are they being blackmailed by the Democrats? President Trump seemed to suggest that the Democrats are under full assault on the NRA. What does that mean technically? Hard to know. It could mean a lot of things. It could mean a lot of things. I believe that's entirely true, that the left, the Democrats, are working very hard to undermine organizations like the NRA that are able to pull a large amount of voters out. They're people who are able to get a lot of people motivated to get up and vote on certain issues. Yes, I do believe the Democrats are directly attacking those. And I believe the gun rights issue is one of them, that they're obviously, that's why they're hitting the NRA. I would not put it above the Democrats to have infiltrators to cause scandals in the NRA. They're desperate. They're absolutely desperate. They also are willing to, look the other way. I appreciate that this story. I can't even begin to unravel how crooked a story like this. And I appreciate you shouldn't, Carol. I don't think we should waver in any way. I do think the NRA needs to deal with its internal business. I do think getting a new person of leadership might be great for that. They need to kind of go back to their roots. They've been a little bit on this celebrity leadership role that makes it look a little ceremonial. You need somebody with vision. Get them in charge. That's my personal opinion. So, article. White supremacist rally targeted. Have you heard the story about the white supremacist rally targeted? So some guy, some leftist, I'm sure, because that's what the news creates. In retaliation, this is what they tell me. In retaliation for the New Zealand Christchurch mosque shootings, not the Sri Lankan several 300 plus Christians killed, not in vengeance of them, but in vengeance of the Christchurch mosque shooting. Someone, this individual who they apparently have caught, was attempting to target for violent activity a, quote, white supremacist rally. Now, here's what I find frustrating about this article. One, it's really thin on actual details about what, who, but secondarily, just by mentioning the idea that there might be a is there a white supremacist rally? What rally are we even talking about, a white supremacist rally? Anytime anybody wears this hat, someone on the left thinks that they're a white supremacist. So if I get 5 of my friends wearing a MAGA hat out on the street, is that a white supremacist rally? Because this is what's being targeted. Why is that being targeted? Because what we're seeing on the news is this tit for tat, back and forth, constant violence, and instead of seeing it handled, this is what's causing the conflict. I want to talk about this a little bit. Instead of seeing it handled in an even fashion, instead of seeing each new act of violence have a similar response, you're seeing the Christchurch shooting, for whatever reason, you can make your own assumptions, get several times the press and the tragic, oh no, look, we're helping them press. Already in Sri Lanka, this is how the media has gone in the Sri Lanka case. Bunch of Easter worshippers were massacred. It's horrible. We still haven't caught all the guys. ISIS claim control. We're not going to talk about that. And, oh, by the way, Sri Lanka is so racist now because of this attack that they're banning the hijab. This is how the news has gone. A few days ago, oh, the shooting, we're so sad. Next, they're like, oh, they can't even catch their criminals over there. They're free. The jihadis are free. The next day, they're like, actually, the next day they were comparing people who were like, oh, you're upset about Christchurch, but you're not upset about Sri Lanka. And we were worried about Easter worshippers. And now, Sri Lanka is a racist country because it wants to ban the hijab. Despite the fact that the reason it wants to ban the hijab is because what we are talking about, when you are wearing the full covering, there is no way to, A, determine who you are without stopping you and looking at your identification and making you remove your hijab. It's stupid. Or preventing you from wearing dangerous devices under your clothing. There's absolutely nothing that can be done other than constant bomb detection. And in a country that has seen over 300 dead, I am in no way surprised that they have decided to work towards banning this oppressive garment. I find it so interesting that we see the left. Yeah, Denise, they're absolutely right. She says they're telling them not to go to church. They have had services at home. They're having mass at home because they're afraid to go to church. Because when 1,000 some people were injured, some ridiculous number of people are injured, 300 plus people dead because they went to church to mind their own business and worship how they chose. So, they're staying home now because that's how afraid. So, yes, terror works. But here's the problem. We see the media focusing on terror in a obvious bent in favor of as much of the radical Islamic agenda as possible. I don't understand it other than to explain to you that the global communists have long used radical Islam as a resource, as a military resource, as an ally, as an asset, and that many of the radical Islamic nations, tribes, etc., do operate on a communistic economic fashion. It's not really a big private property place when if the leaders of the village decide you did not appropriately honor Allah that day, they can throw rocks at you till you die. It's not really, hey, but let's make sure that we carefully will his possessions to the next person after we've stoned him to death usually it's her, unfortunately. Usually it's her. Carol, that's great. Scott Ryan Pressler coming to North Carolina May 4th through 7th to show how to knock on doors and sign people up to vote. Yes. Go to North Carolina Women for Trump. That's a great. Scott is doing some great work. Very productive. You cannot. No one can hold a candle to that guy. Absolutely. Yes, the radical left and radical Islam share a common enemy. They share a common method, which is, in fact, collectivism. They share both of those things. And they, of course, are working together, which is why we see the problem we're having. Now, unfortunately, what we hear in the news is this ridiculous talk of white supremacist rallies. What we hear in the news is, oh, look how Sri Lanka is going so bad. We heard 3 weeks of the poor Christchurch situation, which I don't believe that we should go in and start shooting up mosques in the middle of service either. I think that's rude regardless. If people are there going to church, don't shoot up the barbecue. They had a barbecue. People were barbecuing across the street from each other in Baltimore. Dude, shut up. Don't shoot up the barbecue either. It's rude. Don't shoot up places where other people aren't shooting at you. That's just just a rule I live by. Just a rule I personally live by. I choose not to shoot at people who aren't shooting at me. So I don't shoot up barbecues. I don't shoot up synagogues. Look, we haven't even begun to talk about the synagogue shooting out in California. Why have we talked about it? Well, the media is barely even talking about it because they're still talking about the mosque being shot up and how that compares to Sri Lanka and their racist hijab law. This is what's creating the hate. Unfortunately, the hate, a lot of it is fake. I posted on my page. I hope all of you got a chance to take a look and watch the video that Whoopi Goldberg made with a group of our Proud Boys. I love my Proud Boys. As always, I was extra proud of my boys in this video because what you're going to see when you go and take a look at it is Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, exactly. Keep your shots to the avocado. It's very... No, the New York Times is not helping at all, Paul. They're not. I literally click on several articles and they're all sensational and I try to read their horrible, sensational writing so that I can prepare you for what not to read. And they're like, you've tried to read too many articles. So not only are they not helping by writing sensational headlines, but they're not helping by not letting me read them for free. It's just the headlines. That's the other part I can read for free. Like the little first paragraph. They're not helping at all. Absolutely. I'm cracking Alex up. Absolutely not helping whatsoever. So, Whoopi and the Proud Boys. How did this happen? The Proud Boys had come to protest. Yep, the Florida Proud Boys. Love them. Love. I love those guys. I love those guys. They do a lot of charity work. It was just the other week they were out doing some sort of charity project or food drive or doing some sort of... They do actual good stuff in the community. Today, recently, they went and they stood outside of Whoopi Goldberg's performance, their shooting of The View in Florida, and Whoopi Goldberg came out to talk to them. And what ensued is a tremendously awesome video of a real conversation. I think Whoopi was shocked repeatedly when it comes to the grace and intellect of these young men, but they're still their fun, Proud Boy selves. It's definitely a video worth watching. I've made the photo, the screenshot that she took, the photo she took with all the guys, my cover photo, and will for another couple days, because that's the kind of message we actually need to hear more of. You know, I'm constantly hearing about, the video where so-and-so got their hat ripped off of them, or the video where somebody got attacked because they were wearing the MAGA hat, or the article about the dude who got beat up. You know, yes, there are crazies who freak out on your MAGA hat. That happens. There's also a lot of situations where you can just wear your MAGA hat and be a Trump supporter and everybody's cool. And that's most of the situation. That's actually the vast majority of the situation. But because we're hearing all about these shootings and these hate between the races, in reality, that's a fraction of the experience of the world. In many and most parts of the world, where races are intermingling and living together side by side, and have been for centuries, to be honest. Let's be realistic. For centuries. So this idea that we have that all of a sudden we're dripping in white supremacy is insane. The idea that we're divided and we're feeding the homeless. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Denise. Denise down in Florida, always on top of everything going on in the Sunshine State. And boy, is it sunshine! It also is. I could also call it the patchy rain state, because it's sunny, but then there'll be rain in the middle of the day, and then it's sunny again. So it's kind of like, that's what I call it. That's just me. But the idea that what we're seeing is the negative again and again. Yeah, see, Connie, you get compliments, you give hats away, you have a lot of very positive interactions. And then what we're seeing, even with our good friend Dion Cini in New York, who goes out and does flag drops all the time, you're seeing very positive reactions. Are there a few loonies who come and freak out? Yes. Great, and we love to watch that clickbait. But the reality of the situation is we're actually able to have that dialogue. That's one of the things that I appreciate most about this video with Whoopi and the Proud Boys, is in reality, we can have a dialogue. The Proud Boys, who are deemed a horrible, utterly falsely deemed a, quote, white supremacist organization by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which itself is a bigoted organization that is now just designed to attach right-thinking, right-leaning political organizations falsely with racist and other actually leftist mentalities. Unfortunately, things like the KKK, things like Jim Crow laws, things like segregation, these are all traditionally Democratic principles. I mean, I'm saying unfortunately for everyone who started out a Democrat, or whoever had to vote for a Democrat, and is now coming aware of how long the Democrats have actually been the party of racism. We might not have meant to vote for the party of racism, but we didn't know. We were told it wasn't. I was told there would be no racism. And unfortunately, in the Democratic Party, that is not the history. That is not the history we're talking about. Changes in Gitmo leadership. I don't know what it means. But the head commander at Gitmo was fired in a breach of confidence. I don't know what that means either. All I'm telling you, some changes at Gitmo. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Will my Q bots get all excited and saying, oh, they're preparing. The time has come. They're preparing. They're preparing. Maybe they are. Maybe the guy's hooked and he's just getting fired. I don't know. It can't be as bad as the guy, this story. I don't I don't know. I don't know to believe this story or not. This has got to be some fake news, but it came from a reputable site. I don't remember. I think it was on Fox, to be fair, but I'd have to look it up again. The news clicks by so fast, but it was so funny. I had to share it with you. It is an article about Russian attack whales. There are some Norwegian boaters, fishermen and such, who say that Russia has trained whales. I'm going to try to get through this without laughing while I say it. Russia has trained whales to mess with the boats. That's literally what they're saying, to mess with the boats. So it's not really, they're not really so much attack whales as they're annoy whales. Russia has trained whales to annoy. Oh, good, you saw that, Chris. I'm not lump. They've trained whales to annoy the Norwegian fishing boats. Oh, only narwhals. Yes, only narwhals. This is what I mean, it's so Alexander the Great with his army of elephants meets, Poseidon adventure. It's. I had to share that with you, just so you know. Be careful, be wary if you're on the seas of Norwegia. If you're on the Norwegian sea region, beware of the trained Russian whales who might mess with you. I mean, why can't I thought I would believe that sharks are easy to program because you just need to I know they've lost their minds clearly, but sharks, you have to trigger them, but I don't know. It seems like by the time you've trained a whale, you could have just built a submarine and... Alright. Maybe the Japanese are in on it. Who knows? Who knows? I am excited to hear that NASA is actually studying a long-time problem, a problem that I have often felt is the real issue. We have seen in the news lately a lot of push about the climate change. I'm sure you've noticed it. The left is really getting on their climate change high horse, and they're getting themselves. We've already gone through a lot of the research. There's been research on how polar bears are increasing, the ice caps are getting bigger, the carbon dioxide is even feeding the plants. It's really grade school science. And so I find it ridiculous that we had to spend years listening to the climate change hoax. We're finally starting to get legitimate scientists who feel confident enough in telling the truth that the climate change faithers, if you will, are starting to lose ground, and we're able to actually tell the truth, such as if what we're doing is producing a lot of carbon dioxide on the earth, do you know what likes carbon dioxide? Plants. That's why the world's forests have been reforesting at a extensive rate, at a higher rate than normal. Like, wow, the forests are growing back really fast. Right. Because of the carbon dioxide. Plants breathe carbon dioxide. So we're starting to get real facts about this. Now, what we've been told by many a doomsdayer that we're going to die in some horrible rising of the oceans. The ice is all going to melt. It's going to be something to do with climate change. It's going to be some triggered ice age. This is the problem. None of that is the real danger we face. All of that is if even possible, and not totally exaggerated, a fraction of the danger we face by near Earth objects hitting the planet. You know why things hitting the planet is more devastating than the possibility of climate change, because in all of the study of science that we have done, of all of the history of Earth, okay, we have never determined that man has created climate changing that caused people or animals or species to die or be harmed, or there to be some sort of change in the Earth's atmosphere. That hasn't happened. But what has happened is asteroids have hit the Earth and things have gone extinct. Clouds, dust clouds have covered the sky. These are real events. And so NASA is going to, because you know NASA, the organization that President Trump is actually using to study space, which is what it was designed for, the one that President Obama felt should involve itself in international Muslim relations, because, you know, when I think Muslims, I think space. No, they're actually going to be doing something spacey and conducting an asteroid study with a fake asteroid, a model, if you will, so they can start to study. You know, I would assume they would have studied this already, so it's a little bit disappointing, but that's all right. So that they can start to study what would happen if the Earth was impacted by a large object, which is the first step. Yep, solar cycles too. Which is the first step to being able to prevent the Earth being hit by a large near-Earth object or some sort of comet or asteroid or rock, space rock, whatever it may be. This is actually a much greater concern and much more dangerous to the human population than any amount of plastic straws. Which, by the way, everywhere, I want to kudos to all the folks everywhere across the country who are taking pictures of their very, very crappy paper straws in the plastic cups. Keep it up. That stuff is awesome. And what we really need to know in reality is the situation with the paper straws. They don't work. We need our plastic ones back. It's absolutely ridiculous. Paul, very funny. The Earth was already hit by a large Earth object. Rosie ODonnell. Only Rosie ODonnell. Paul, I can't beat that. So we're going to leave on that note. Folks, that is our show for today. We are doing late night shows. 9 p.m., 9:10 Eastern Standard Time. While I'm in the process of moving, shows are a little bit shorter, but we are, in fact, of course, still here trying to get some real facts out. Let's continue to see going forward. Thank you, Chen. Thank you for disposing of your straws properly. By the way, the proper disposal location, what I like to do is save up the straws, right? Because you want to, like, you save up your recycling, but I want to save up my used plastic straws. And then the proper location is to unload them at a local Democratic event. Basically shove the straws. You know. That's where you should get rid of your straws. Just saying, the proper way to recycle a straw is in a Democrat's. And that is our show for today, folks. Let's play a little bit of this. Jeremy Harrell in the studio going to be working on 2 new tracks. 6-track album coming out soon. Can't wait for that. The anniversary of Walk Away coming up. There will be a great event here in D.C., of course. Also, Laugh Right Comedy Night on May 17th. If you're in the D.C. area, DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, come on out. I carry my own straws in my purse too, Donna. I literally do now. I'm not playing around. I'm not playing around, my friends. If you are in the area, come on out to the comedy show. We're gonna have some great conservative, just not lefty crazy comics. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna have a good time, and it's not gonna be a bunch of anti-Trump jokes, which is not funny anymore. Which is going to be great. All right. And of course, I want to thank our sponsor, sendmeg.com. If you are in the New England, New York, Ohio, or Ontario area, and you are in need of any delivery whatsoever, you go to sendmeg.com. From small to large, any kind of certification you're going to need as far as what materials can be sent, she can do it. So sendmeg.com. And in honor of Rod Rosenstein's resignation, we have a little bit of this.